The 24-hour series powered by Hankook is back in Europe. After an outstanding and exciting season opener in the desert of Dubai, the teams and drivers are getting ready for an exciting race in beautiful Tuscany, Mugello, Italy. 36 teams, 39 cars representing 9 different brands, with 128 drivers from 20 nations. A colourful grid here at the Hankook 12 Hours of Mugello. The cars are split into 2 divisions, GT and TCE, 10 different classes within those two, so a lot of traffic at the Autodromo Internazionale di Mugello. Mugello is the second race of this year's 24-hour series powered by Hankook, and one of the most popular European events, together with the Hankook 12 Hours of Spa-Francorchamps at the Ardennes roller coaster and the Hankook 24 Hours at the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya in Spain. On top of this, the series will be making an eagerly awaited return to the vaunted Autodromo Nazionale di Monza in Italy, and is preparing for a maiden event at the Autodromo de Estoril in Portugal. And that will feature an exploratory qualifying race format. The last race of 2023 will also serve as the start of the Middle East Championship for 2023 and 2024. And once again, we're off to the desert at the spectacular Kuwait Motor Town. Hello everybody, I'm John Hindorf and welcome to Mugello. It's one of Italy's classic circuits, tucked away in the rolling hills of Tuscany and beloved of motorsport enthusiasts all around the world. 5.2 kilometres, just over 3 miles. It's a compact layout, looking a little bit like an elongated capital J. It's set in a valley, so there's elevation changes, and it's an absolute quality place to go for spectators and drivers. Mugello has been raced on since 1974, for nearly half a century then, and it's classified as an FIA Grade 1 circuit. Held its first and so far only Grand Prix in the 2020 COVID season. Just over 5.2 kilometres, or just over 3 miles. It's quite a long and technical circuit, to be honest. The lap begins on the very long front straight with a couple of rides and falls. It allows the GT3 cars to get up to somewhere approaching 270 kilometres an hour before they're hard on the brakes just before the 100-metre board, down to 90 kilometres an hour. Second, then third gear as they climb through San Donato, which is turn 1, uphill through the first chicane, Lucco and Poggio Secco, and then fourth and fifth gear to Materazzi. That's the highest part of the circuit. That's turn number 4. And accelerating through there in fourth gear, over the top of the rise, down to Borgo and Casanova and Savelli. Those 3 come up very quickly before you drop down to one of the most famous parts of the circuit, and actually the lowest point on the circuit. It's 30 metres lower than the highest point. This is Arrabbiata 1 and 2. Second part is climbing up again, so you get on the throttle very, very quickly. Then you're heading through turn 10, Scarperia, which is named after the nearby town. That's the back of the grandstand. Left-hander at turn 11 is Pelagio. Then Corintao, which is right in front of our commentary box, actually. We can see that, and it drops down. And that is off camber. Then down to Biondetti. That's another chicane, but that is pretty much flat out. And Buccini is the final of the 15 corners. And that brings you back onto the start-finish line. Almost a triple apex corner, that. And the fastest cars and drivers will be doing that in a little under 2 minutes. We're going to clock up a few laps here this weekend. Pole position up for grabs in the qualifying sessions, and there are 3 parts of qualifying per division. 15 minutes for each of 3 drivers who get out on the circuit and push their cars to the limit. They can't refuel or retire their cars, so the best lap per each of the driver counts. Then you add those together and average it down. The best average then gets the pole position within each of the divisions and classes. You following along? Good, I'll be asking questions later. It was the number 215, the fastest car in the TCE division. The SK Racing team have brought a beautiful Ligier GS2R to Mugello. All 3 drivers impressed with their best laps in the session, so it's pretty easy for us to work out who has the best average time. They actually managed to beat their competitors by almost 2.5 seconds. Alan Furtier, Formula 3000 and Le Mans driver in his pomp, and his teammates can be proud of this great performance.
It's good, but it's it's work for the teamwork, and the car was good. I drove like at the last my stint for the qualifier. I drove like ambulance man, but it was good. I tell you. No, we have get some problem with the flat bottom and the diffuser, but it's okay. The car is good and the team is good.
Into the highly competitive, as ever, GT division, and third place to the number 8 French Accodis ASP team, the AMG in dark red, grey and black. They were biting their nails in the first qualifying session with a lazy spin on the far side of the circuit. It had no major consequences, didn't even really flat spot the Hankook tyres, and they were able to go on. And at the end of the session, in fact, only 39 100ths away from the front row, so a decent starting position, and they know that an endurance race is not won in qualifying. The battle for pole position was between the American Heart of Racing by SPS 27 AMG, who were charging really hard and putting down fantastic time, and Roman De Angelis in Q2 managed a lap time of under 1 minute 48 seconds, the second fastest time overall, so they take second spot. Close then for the 27 team, but no cigar. The big box of Havanas go to the number 91 Herberth team and their black Porsche 911. This is one of the 991.2 cars that are coming to the end of their useful life. They do have a brand new car here this weekend, but that car hasn't yet had its BOP. They had a brilliant qualifying session with all three of their drivers under 1 minute and 50 seconds. That put their average almost a full second ahead of everyone else. Back to their very best then for Herberth on pole position.
Yeah, we were very pleased. Yeah, the old car, we take the old car on the. This was very fine. Yeah, it's good for the team. It's good for us that we have a fast car, but that's not important to be on the first.
In the hard-fought 992 class, 13 entrants, and Red Ant Racing, the number 903 comes out on top with their 911 GT3 Carrera Cup car. In GTX, the fastest average lap was set by Team RD Science in the only Lamborghini Huracan Super Trofeo on the grid. In GT4, number 416, the Team Buggy Raz ZM Racing AMG GT4 have set the best times. Very special driver lineup as well here. 2023 Paris-Dakar finisher Alia Kolosh and Adam Luko both race in the European Truck Series as well. Saturday morning and part one of the race coming up shortly. The trophies, which will be handed out tomorrow afternoon, are at the front of the grid. Really important to get a good start to the European Series and clock up some points for the overall rankings.
It's wonderful. 40 cars on the grid. Look at the people. They're also adjusting to start the European season. Is fantastic. The people were really excited yesterday about the qualifying format. Even the AMs, they took part of that. It's fantastic here.
Expectations are high for everyone up and down the grid, especially for the front runners in GT3.
Quite good now, back in pole. We are really happy, especially with the old car. We did all the testing with the new one, and then we decided to take the old one. Now we will see.
Of course, endurance racing is certainly a lot of fun, but it's also a huge amount of hard work, endless night shifts to prepare the car, tactics and strategy too.
Couldn't get a better place, could you? Got these mountains in the background, awesome people here, competitors, love this racetrack. Wouldn't want to be anywhere else. Well, right now, as you saw her interesting, exciting qualifying attempt yesterday, got to hand it to the team for getting the car back out there. Everybody did an amazing job. We're sitting here P5 overall. You've got to play, because we're like 2 days, right? So you kind of play up to the final of today, regroup where you're at, make sure you're on the lead lap. Hopefully you've got some tires and fuel left for day 2. So that's really where we're at. It's tough. And also, with only Code 60s, where you don't have like a full course yellow where you bring everybody together, staying on that lead lap is critical, absolutely critical. You can't make any mistakes and think you're gonna, catch back up here. So playing those Code 60s right, playing the strategy right, and being all out fast for 6 hours of the first day.
Well, clearly you have to have an experienced and motivated team to be anywhere near success in a 12-hour race. But when it comes to strategy, having the mastermind of Paul Truswell in your pit is a big advantage.
There's such a high level of competition here that it's going to be a close race. What we're not going to do is to get drawn into a real race today. The real race is tomorrow. This is just an extended qualifying. If we can stay at the front, then that's all we need to do today.
Anyone who goes racing needs a supportive partner. Italian driver Fabrizio Brogi knows this. He got married just a few days before the race.
Yes, it has been a great week. Got married. I'm going to race. What combination could be better?
Let's take a quick look at the front of the grid at least. Pole sitters Herbert Motorsport have Heart of Racing in their AMG for company on row 1. It's Mercedes and Audi on row 2 in the shape of the French Acodis ASP team and the Santaloc Junior team. On the third row, CP Racing, another AMG and another Audi Land Motorsport. And on row 4, Haas RT and Jutta Racing, a couple of Audis side by side. Sunshine, Saturday morning, race part 1 underway with the formation lap. Long run to the lights, which are red, waiting for the lights to go off and the green flag to be waved. The Porsche on the right-hand side. Red lights are still on. That was a long, long wait, and they're underway now for the 12 hours of Mugello. And Ralph Bourne from pole position disappears into the dip for a moment, but as he crests the rise, he's got a cracking start coming down to the first corner. Behind them, everyone fanning out, but that is a brilliant start for Herbert Motorsport. They're away from any potential danger as they climb the hill for the first time. Ralph Bourne has done exactly what he needed to do. After just a couple of corners, he's got a decent gap into Ian James in second for Heart of Racing, who's fighting off the first of the Audis. Good start from Paul Everard in the blue and black Santaloc Junior Audi. He's up to third. He's got ahead of Jerome Policon for Team Acodis ASP. Land Motorsport in sixth. Just ahead of them is the CP Racing car. Hoffer Racing up to 8th position. Everything going smoothly so far as we're down at the Arabi Artis for the first time. Through comes the big Porsche class in the middle of the field. 20 starters in that really brilliant array of cars and drivers. Well, this has gone exactly to plan for the moment for Ralph Bourne in that previous generation machine. Still clearly got a lot of performance as he's pulling away from a quality field of drivers. CP Racing under pressure there in the red, white and black number 85. It's one of the Audis coming through, trying to put some pressure on there. Nice and calm for everybody at the start of the race. Herbert Motorsport then leading ahead of Heart of Racing SPS Santaloc Junior team. Chris Meese is that black Audi that is moving through. He's rather out of position with that car on qualifying. Started in 6th and he's trying to take 4th position at the moment in that number 55 car, right behind Jerome Policon at the moment in the number 88. Chris Meese, Audi factory driver, on the move in early running here. Down to the braking area for turn 1, tries the outside manoeuvre, might be able to make this work here. He'll have the inside for the second corner. Forceful but fair driving there by Chris Meese. Next target for Chris Meese is Paul Everard in the blue and black Santaloc Junior Audi. He's right with him now, and it won't be long before he's up into 3rd position. Meese then through and past the Santaloc car. He's 3 seconds quicker than anyone else on track at the moment, and he's already hunting down Ian James. So the battle for 2nd position now. Round the outside for Chris Meese. Smart driving by Ian James. He's not racing that Audi right now. Meese already with the leader and the 2 dark cars, one from Audi, one from Porsche, the 2 German rival manufacturers. Board on the inside, Meese on the outside. He's taking the longer way around, but my goodness, there's pace in Meese and there's pace in that Audi. New leader here at Mugello. Marvellous stuff. 6th to 1st in 8 laps. Another driver on a mission. Watch the red and white Ferrari. That's Marco Frezzi for Kessel Racing. They missed a part of qualifying, so he started dead last in 32nd position, and he's driving up through the fields now. He's right up behind the Hoffer Racing number 11 AMG, and that's Ian James just ahead as well as they go side by side down the hill into the Arabiatis. Frezzi has to balance between aggression and care. Very, very impressive drive for that lovely number 8 Ferrari. Goes past Ian James now. That's him up into 8th position. Oh, that's drama for one of the leading lights. That was the pole-sitting car, the 91 Porsche of Herbert. Ralph Bourne's dead stick at the side of the track. And we're hearing from the pit lane it's a gearbox issue. And that is a disaster for the German team. Their day could be over before it's really got going. Fabulous three-way battle, multi-way battle, really, for the 992 class. The 985 is Norhofer Racing. The 909 is the Red Cabell Journal car there on the inside, that tangerine and black car. The Veely Motorsport by EB Motors is the multicoloured machine. Great teams, great drivers, and catching the GT3 cars ahead of them. Oh, that's Gray Newell in the heart of racing, 27 AMG in the gravel beds. This is going to be Code 60s, not driving it out of there. Code 60s here in the 24H series by Hankook are like a virtual safety car, 60 km/h speed limit around the whole of the track to allow for a safe environment for the marshals to get into action and deal with recovery. No overtaking allowed, but the pits do stay open. Great opportunity for first pit stops and fuel. New tyres as well. Super important to get the fuel strategy right. During Code 60, you can only get 50% of your normal fuel allowance, unless you're a full GT3 amateur team. They can fill up. It does get crowded in the fueling area, so you've got to work out with your team when to come in, when a fuel pump is available. So that Code 60 has worked well for the CP Racing AMG, leading the race now. They've had over 50 appearances in the series, and after 39 laps, they now lead. It's bad news for what was the pole-sitting car in TCE. The Ligier 215 SK Racing lost the lead to the 147 Icoa Racing Audi, but now they're back in the pit garage with an alternator problem. Well, some good news for the Ligier. That alternator problem has been identified. They think they've fixed it. They're sending it back into the race. Oh, that is the 215. Another problem. They're coming in through the shortcut and just about getting to their pit box. So that's both the pole sitters, isn't it? From GT and TCE, who had an awful start to their race. Well, this is interesting news from Herbert. They've hatched a new plan to get back on track.
We asked Creventic if it's possible to switching to the new car, just for testing reasons today, to do 2 or 3 stints, complete stints, to be prepared for the next round in Spa. So they agreed, thanks to them. We have to go to scrutineering now, get the car checked, and then we go out for the last 2 or 3 hours.
So after the bad luck for SK Racing, it's Hoffer Racing by Bonk Motorsport, the Swiss team, who have benefited. The BMW M2 CS probably not as competitive in overall speed as the other higher powered machines, but it has been 100% reliable at the moment. Smart driving and a well thought out strategy. They lead in the TCE division after 2.5 hours. Here's the current leader in GTX. An unfamiliar picture perhaps for some, the French Vortex team in the lead. It's a very special racing car. They've put a lot of effort into the series down through the years. They always seem to be dealing with difficulties, but today everything is going according to the plan so far. At the front of the field, it's still CP Racing. Fast lap times, a couple of flawless pit stops. Their plan's going very nicely. 1 minute and 15 seconds ahead of the Antigua and Barbuda Haas RT team, with Stefan Perrin pushing really hard in the Audi, number 21. But he's not really closing the gap to CP and Shane Lewis. Pit stop time then for the second place car. Driver change. New Hankook tyres, full tank of fuel. That is absolutely quality stuff. All going nicely. Get that front left on. Land Motorsport Audi settling now into a top 3 position. It was a brilliant start at the beginning of the race for Chris Meese. who was really on a mission. Tim Muller now behind the steering wheel. He's doing well. Lap times are around about 1 minute 54, and he's keeping up the pressure on the two teams ahead. The multicoloured car is the leader in the 992 Porsche Cup class for Carrera Cup cars. That's the 955 Wheelie Motorsport by EB Motors, right in behind the GT3 Krone car at the moment, leading their class and up to 6th position overall with the newlywed Fabrizio Brogi behind the steering wheel. Kessel Racing Ferrari in the tyre wall. Marco Tallarico has planted it there. What a shame, because they had a great start to the race and they were making up positions from the back of the grid. Our hard-working marshals making sure that that car comes out of the gravel. Now, the team won't be penalised for outside assistance here. They will be allowed to get back into the race, but that looks like quite a lot of work for the Kessel mechanics to get that Ferrari back into some sort of state to be competitive here at Mugello. Oh, this is not going to work for Haas RT. Code 60 has come out just as they were already in the pits.
Yeah, bad luck, but we can do other because the fuel was empty, so we have to box. That's bad luck, but it's a long way to go.
Well, for the leader, the CP Racing team, that second Code 60 has worked perfectly well for them. They have worked the strategy and they have a 2.5 minute lead now. That's comfortable for the All-American team. 21 Audi Haas RT making up ground. Fred Vervish driving, and he is flying. Lap times around about 1 minute 50. He's just gone past Dr. Johannes Kerkhoff in the second Land Motorsport Audi, and he is flying at the moment. 7th position for Haas RT. Now, that's 6th position, not in the same class as the Audi. That Porsche is Wheelie Motors. They're leading the 992 category, but this is 6th overall, and that's an unequal battle. Very sensibly, the EB Motors driver not fighting. So with almost 4 hours of racing done, let's have a look at the class leaders. For, over 30 laps now, it's been CP Racing at the head of the field in the 85 AMG. 992, Wheelie Motorsport by EB Motors, and well inside the top 10 overall, they lead the 992 class. GTX, it's the RD Sainz team from Lithuania with the Lamborghini Huracan Super Trofeo. They're back ahead now of the lead Vortex V8. The silver chrome Mercedes AMG GT4, the 403, is the Korean-entered Atlas BX Motorsport. 2 laps their lead now ahead of Simpson Motorsport in second. And last but not least, here's the TCE division leader, dominated by Primus Racing. Their BMW M2 Club Sport with 450 horsepower is running like clockwork. Confirmation then of the running order at 4 hours. Charles Putman for CP ahead of Mathieu Dutré by a couple of laps when they went across the line. Fabrizio Brogi celebrating his wedding in style by being 3rd overall in the 992 Cup leader. Then Sandlock, Hoffer, the 2 Lance and Neuhofer. That's your top 8 in GT. In TCE, it's an all BMW affair. Primus lead overall in the TCX class as well. And then the 2 TC Hoffer Racing by Bonk Motorsports car ahead of TCR and the SK Racing Ligier. One team's good fortune under Code 60 is another team's disadvantage, of course. CP Racing benefited, but Chris Mees from Land Motorsport, they missed the last Code 60, came in under green flag. 2 laps down at the moment, in 5th, but still confident.
Well, I made a mistake coming into Code 60, and I passed by a car. I didn't see the signs early enough, so we got a 2 minutes penalty. Otherwise, everything would be fine. And most of the cars that are in front of us now, they need to refuel in the next 10 to 15 minutes, so I think we will be there on second again. Well, I didn't expect that, honestly, because the field is quite strong. Stefan, my co-driver, he doesn't have too much experience on the GT3. I didn't drive since last year, July, so I didn't expect that. But thanks to a good team, cool car, and a strong Chris, we are there.
The real fun of endurance racing is about the camaraderie in the pit lane, and Creventic, the race promoter, tries to make that happen with the delivery of Italian pizza, hot, to the pit garages. Charles Putman at the front of the field. Bit of a lonely drive for Charles, actually. Is currently over Haas RT, the 21 Audi, in second. A little bit more than a lap. Mathieu Detré currently driving that Audi, and he's charging at the moment. He's around about 2-3 seconds a lap quicker than Charles, trying to get back on the lead lap, and that's really important when we get to the end of the first 6 hours. Oh my goodness me, that's the leader. That's the leader's got off. Charles Putman has ripped the right-hand front off the AMG GT3, and that's CP Racing's class lead and potential for victory. Surely that has gone in the blink of an eye. Was that the pressure that was being put on by Detré? That's Scarperea and Pelagio, turns 11 and 12. The mechanics have got a lot of work to do. The race victory's gone, but they'll want to get that back into the second half of the race. They are defending European champions. They'll want the points.
Just a lot of ugly things. I don't really know, I'm sorry. That's the same place I had a problem with in qualifying, and everything seemed to be okay. Came out of the turn there and went to the power to go to the next turn, and the car just snapped suddenly on me. I couldn't catch it. Chris Meese had gone around me 3 turns earlier, and I said, yes, what a nice job he's doing driving. But I was by myself and no one near me.
133 laps in, and we have a new leader. Haas RT out front for the first time. This is the 7th different team that have led already, with about an hour still to go of today's part of the race and 6 hours to go tomorrow on Sunday. Mathieu Detré and his teammates trying to keep hold of that lead until the checkered flag. The Santalok Junior team in second place. Only 2 drivers for the blue Audi, Paul Efrard and Erwin Bastard. This will be a physically demanding race for them. Second position in GT4, Simpson Motorsport team. Car has ground to a halt going out of the pits. The BMW number 438 being taken back into the pit lane. What a shame. That was a decent run they had going. Well, that's not supposed to be happening, is it? The 71 red, white and black Jutta Racing Audi. Is there a tyre rub there, or is that fluid? Oh, look at that. Look at that. It's fuel gushing out over the right-hand side rear of the car. Maybe the fuel cap not put on properly. They're going to have to come back in. Mathieu Detré continues to lead for Haas RT. Very consistent and fast lap times. He's worked the traffic well. Doesn't seem to be right on the limit, not using too much of the curb. So more than 45 minutes in the lead, full tank of fuel, and a new set of Hankooks for the Audi. Looks like Detré staying in. Yes, he is. I quite like that, actually, because he's in a good rhythm, and there's no need to break that up right now. So it's Santalok Junior team with the 001 on the right-hand side of the windscreen. They're the leader. This is the 8th lead team in the race. Paul Efrard and Erwin Bastard in the number 26. So into the pit lane for the Santalok Junior team. They're led for 7 laps, and they've picked up a cone from the refueling area. He needs to run that across the curb. Perfectly done. Santalok now 25 seconds behind Haas RT in the lead. No need to push too hard because those time gaps will disappear if you stay on the lead lap, remember, at the end of this 6 hours. Let's have a look at the top 3 and the leaders in class. Pick up Haas RT out on the circuit, the number 21 Audi. It's Audi in second too with the black and blue 26 Santalok Junior team. And then Land Motorsport, the 34 car. Tim Vogler, Ingo Vogler and Dr. Johannes Kerkhoff. In Porsche 992, it's Wheelie Motors 955. They're kind of on home ground here, aren't they? And Fabrizio Brogi celebrating his wedding. That'd be a nice wedding present. GTX, RD Sainz Lamborghini, 2 laps ahead of the French Vortex V8 team. Atlas BX Motorsport, the Korean team with the bright chrome AMG GT4, 4 laps ahead of Bugira ZM Racing. That's the GT4 class leader there. TC E Division, still the BMW of Primus Racing. They are 2 laps ahead of the best of the Hoffa Racing by Bolt Motorsport cars. 5 minutes to go then And we have got a battle. The leader, the Haas RT, number 21, and the blue and white car ahead, the 34 of Land Motorsport. This isn't for position, but Mathieu Dupré really wants to put another lap on Tim Vogler here. Blue flags are out for the blue and white Audi, but he's defending. And, oh, right across the curbs there. Dupré, well, that shows how much he wanted to be through. It's been a nightmare last few minutes for the 403 Atlas BX Motorsports. First in the pits with a damaged door, and now down at turn 1, the car has spun. They've lost the left rear wheel. They'll not get that car back from there. That'll be a 10-lap penalty per Stephen Shaw and the rest of the team. The lead in GT4 has gone then for that car, literally on the last lap of Saturday's portion of the race. No problems at the front of the field, though, for Haas RT, who will finish the Saturday session in the lead, having clocked up 172 laps.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I mean, I have to congratulate Stefan and Mathieu, who's in the car. He did an amazing job. He did a great overtake at the end. Yeah, I think Haas as well, it's a new team, and we're here P1, half race. Okay, it doesn't mean anything, but we're on target. We're good on strategy, and tomorrow is another day, and yeah, I'm very happy and pleased for everyone.
Here's the overall ranking after an exciting first day of the Hankook 12 Hours of Mugello. Haas RT crossed the line 35 seconds ahead of Santalok, but they're both crucially on the same 172 laps. 2 laps further back, Land Motorsport with their 2 cars, and then Hoffer and Harter Racing and Veely Motors all on the same lap, with Neuhofer Rennsport another lap further back. Now, all of those times will disappear when we restart tomorrow, so the first 2 will start side by side, so basically it's a complete restart on Sunday morning. In TCE, Primus Racing with their BMW in the TCX class is laps ahead of the 2 battling BMWs of Swiss-entered Hoffer Racing Team by Bank Motorsport. They are on the same lap, so those 2 are having a battle of their own. That's it for Saturday. Fuel station is Parc Fermé. See you tomorrow. Buongiorno and welcome to Sunday and the Hankook 12 Hours of Mugello. We've got another 6 hours of top-notch endurance racing ahead of us this Sunday. No one allowed to work on the cars overnight. Parc Fermé regulations, of course. No refueling as well. If anyone does that, it's going to be a 10-lap penalty. Now, it was a great first day of racing. A lot of exciting moments on and off the track. Everybody giving their everything to try and get a good starting position for the day. That was a bit of the, oh, shall we say, the antipasti. But it's today that we get the main course. CP Racing, they've had problems after a trip into the tyre barriers yesterday. The mechanics have worked hard to patch up the car.
CP Racing, the guys did an awesome job last night. They ate a lot of pizza, drank some beer afterwards as a reward, and as you can see, Bridget's back in good shape. We're still reviewing it this morning. We had the video stuff inside, and it wasn't quite conclusive, and they were looking at the Mercedes data this morning. Just, you know, a couple things in the wrong place at the wrong time.
No Saturday problems for Veely Motorsport by EB Motors. They had a great first day.
Couldn't be better. Everything went well. Timing, changing drivers, strategy. We just hope that today is going to be as good as yesterday.
The cars are rolling on the formation lap ahead of another 6 hours of full throttle endurance racing this Sunday at Mugello. Teams in the first and second positions on the same lap, 4th, 5th and 6th, 2 laps down, but still battling. As we go green and the red lights go out, we charge down to the first corner. Fred Vervies versus Herman Bastard on the front row. Haas versus Santalok. That's Audi versus Audi. Remember, the other cars behind are a couple of laps down. Here comes the Ferrari, the fixed Ferrari, the hybrid Ferrari with different colours of panels on. They've had so many problems in that number 8. And charging through, trying to make some of their laps back. Not really in it for an overall position here. However, don't tell Davide Fuminelli that. He's already up to 4th in line and in behind the blue and white Audi of Tim Vogler, who is in 3rd position overall. The 992 Cup class cars have been embroiled in the back of the GT3 field because all of the GT3 cars started ahead of them this morning. Neuhofer car looking at the back of the 912, the bright orange and black machine, and they're fighting their own battles as well in what has been a tremendously competitive class with 20 cars starting yesterday. And they have now got all of their own field to battle, plus some of the GT3 cars as well. Looks like Tim Vogler is challenging the Santalock car, trying to get the lap back from yesterday. So is in 3rd, that is the 2nd place car, but he's a full lap behind. Porsche on Porsche action at Sant'Donato. Vili Motorsport by EB Motors goes through, and there are the 2 Audis now. Santalock, remember, a lap and 3 Audis ahead of that car, if you see what I mean. And there's Fuminelli in 4th position coming onto the start-finish line. And Santalock into the pits. They finished with very little fuel yesterday evening in order to stay on the lead lap. Driver will stay in. That's Urban Bastard in the car, but a new set of Hankooks and a full tank of racing fuel. So will that strategy play out? Also an early pit stop for Ian James in the Heart of Racing GT4 AMG. Similar sort of game played by them at the end of Saturday. Trying to hold on to track position. They knew they'd have to come in relatively early, but now they've got a full tank and some new tyres. Alexander Prince knows how to deal with traffic, and their strategy's working for them at the moment. They're in a podium position thanks to the pit stops of the cars ahead of them, but this won't last. Into the fuel bay for the Hoffer Racing number 11. We were expecting this. And it will be new tyres as well for Alexander Prince. Right, here is the podium position battle out on the circuit. Land Motorsport number 34 battling Santalock Junior Team number 26. This is Tim Vogler versus Urban Bastard. And once again, it's Audi versus Audi. And now with those early pit stops, this is a true battle for position. Leader into the fuel. Now this is too early. It looks routine, but I'm not happy with this. We're only 28 minutes and 13 laps in. This can't be right. Vavis should not have been in the pits now.
That's something on the car, so we prefer to be safe and to come in, do a service a bit earlier, but I think it can be still okay. I mean, still 6 hours, so let's see, maybe a code 60 falls into our lap, so but for the rest the car is running fine, so hopefully it's solved now.
Santalock Junior Team in the blue and black number 26 Audi back at the front of the field. Let's take a look at the leaders of the different classes then. Porsche GT3 Cup class, Vili Motorsports by EB Motors, the multicoloured 992, still leading the Carrera Cup field, and in 4th position overall. Brilliant run. In the GTX class, it's Team RD Signs from Lithuania. They've had a good run, haven't they, in that Lamborghini. In GT4, the lead changed yesterday on the very last lap of the race. Remember, we had the loose wheel when Atlas went off at turn 1. They've had a 10-lap penalty, so now it's the 416 Bugera ZM racing car that leads. In TCE, it's Primus. In the Swedish engine BMW, the 251, they've been at the head of the pack for 5 hours and have a 3-lap lead over their closest pursuers. That's the 2nd place car in the 992 Porsche class, the 909 Red Camel Jordan.NL machine. Oh, this is going to take a while to get out. Luke Breukers in the car gives the thumbs up, but they can't move the car with him in it. They're going to have to lift it up, so he's got to get out of the car. This is going to take a huge amount of time. How frustrating is this for the Dutch entered team?
Yeah, I think the Neuhofer car was coming, and I was on the outside, and he was on the inside, or he was on the outside for the next corner on the inside. And we had a slight touch, and I lost it, and that's basically it. So quite disappointing to lose so much time, but still some hours to go, so we'll see what we can do.
8 hours of the Hankook, 12 hours of Mugello have been completed. In GT division, it's Haas RT who lead it. Santalok Junior team in second, Heart of Racing SPS in third, 2 Audis and a Mercedes. Then the best of the Cup class cars, that's Wheelie Motorsport by EB Motors. Lands number 34. Then the GT3 Audi of Akkodis, Hoffer Racing in 7th, and Neuhofer Rennsport is another GT Cup car in 8th, and in TCE, BMW's 1st, 2nd and 3rd. We're in the decisive phase of the race here, and the lead car is in the pits. Haas RT have worked the strategy. This was a long double stint for Mathieu Dutre. He'll get out of the car now, but I think that's an absolute quality set of decisions that's been made by this team.
Yeah, it was very long, especially for the front left. During our Arabiata corner, it was very difficult to improve, but yeah, I do my best. I was crossing finger for no puncture, and yeah, that worked, so good strategy. Normally, normal stint, I think it's 27 to 30 laps, so yeah, it was really long. Yeah, almost a double stint, yeah.
So Santalok Junior team will come round and take the lead. That's the 3rd change for lead today. I hate making predictions, but if nothing unexpected happens, surely those 2 teams will be fighting for the victory. Meantime, Heart of Racing by SPS, the 27 multicoloured blue car, will be very happy. They've used their experience, they've stayed calm, they've stayed out of trouble, and they are cruising in 3rd position, but they'll be into the pits in the next few minutes. Oh, that's turn 1. Huge impact for the RD Science Lamborghini. And, oh, there's another car as well. A Porsche coming in on a slightly different trajectory. So that would have been Andreas Bukavicius in the RD car. The other one's the NKPP car that's gone in 2nd. That's a huge impact. That's the GTX leader. And there must be something on the circuit because Harry Hilders came in so quickly. The marshals having to clean up some fluid there in the braking zone to turn 1. Well, this is a perfect time for the leaders to come into the pits. The Santalok Junior team have missed out again. They pitted just before that accident down at turn 1. And Haas RT now have inherited a 2-lap lead. The French Vortex team with the 701 have inherited the lead in GTX. In fact, they're 1st and 2nd now. They have a huge margin back to 3rd. And, oh, unbelievable. In the gravel for the 701, and that's another code 60. Looks like there's a wheel and tyre. Oh, a broken right rear wheel. The hub is still on the car. The rest of the wheel, well, is with the marshal. That is an unusual failure on the inside of the wheel. Plenty of drama as well in the 992 class. Changes in position, and it's the 973 EB Motors car who have gone up to 3rd after Red Camel Jordan Dotnell ended up in the gravel. 2nd in 992. Team that we've seen for many years in the Hankook 24-hour series, the 903 of the Belgian Redon family, Red Ant Racing. You've always got to have them as one of your favourites. And leading still, the number 955, Wheelie Motorsport by EB Motors. 4th in the overall ranking and leaving their category rivals behind. What a race week for them. TCE class leader, Primus BMW. The Swedish entered team have about 3 laps ahead of the 2 Hoffer Racing by Bonk Motorsport cars with an hour or so to go. And in that little battle of the 2 club sports, it's the 331 that has cycled to the front of that internecine battle. The Vortex has made it back to the pit lane, but on the back of a flatbed. And that is going to take a wee bit of fixing. They've managed to get another wheel on the right rear as the team car comes into the pits. This is the number 702. And that's a problem on the left-hand rear. They can't get that wheel to tighten up properly. Would you believe it? An hour and a half of hard work in the RD Sainz Lambo's back.
Yeah, it's right rear suspension was damaged, all the body kit was damaged, but we have a parts, we have a spare car, so now it's okay.
Well, here's the arithmetic. The Lamborghini is 15 laps down on the Vortex V8, which is still not up to speed. That 702 car is going slowly again, so this is going to be a bit of a showdown in the GTX category. No problems at the front of the field. It's all going on behind Mathieu Dutré, who is leading for Haas RT, just trying to keep the rhythm. Everything at the moment going well. 2 laps the lead now, ahead of Santalog Junior team in second. They've got 2 laps between themselves and the 3rd place Heart of Racing SPS AMG. So really, all 3 of our leaders just have to keep the cars going to get their places on the overall podium. Crossing your fingers for the Wheelie Motorsports by EB Motors car. This car has had probably the least drama of anyone. If it keeps going, it'll be the big second party of the week after the marriage of Fabrizio Brogi. And a 3rd reason for celebration, they've won the spirit of the race.
This man is on his honeymoon. He has his wife here with him, who they were recently married. But I think also, Fabrizio, the reason why we've got this award for you, the 992 class car has been at the very front of this race, pretty much the whole of this race.
He actually joined me on the race field coming to the Creventic races, and she loved it. From that moment onwards, she kept on coming back, and she looks forward to it. So for her, it's a holiday as well.
So a pretty perfect week for Fabrizio Brogi and his team, Wheelie Motorsport. They're going to be just off the overall podium by a couple of laps, but they'll take the 992 class with ease ahead. And this is a bit of a surprise in the closing stages. It's the Dutch Breukers family, Red Camel Jordan.nl. Luke was in the gravel, but after some misfortune from teams around them, they've vaulted from 4th into 2nd position. 3rd is the other family team in the 992 Cup class. That's Red Ant Racing, 19 seconds behind the Breukers. And in GTX, after a cruel, hard fight, the Team Vortex V8 has come out on top in the GTX class, and it's 1st and 2nd place for the French team who just never give up. RD Sainz get a place on the podium with their repaired Lamborghini. Atlas BX Motorsport from Korea, despite losing a wheel at the end of yesterday, have come through to win GT4 in their Mercedes AMG. It's 2nd place in the TCE division and a win in TC for Hoffa Racing by Bonk Motorsport. What a race this has been for the Haas RT Audi. It'll be Mathieu Dutré who brings the car to the checkered flag. 341 laps completed. They spent 178 laps in the lead. Dutré, Vavish and Stefan Perrin, no doubt about the winners of the Hankook 12 Hours of Mugello. In 2nd position, it's the French Santalog Junior team, Paul Evrard and Erwin Bastard, just the 2 of them driving their Audi R8. And in 3rd, a very good Sunday indeed for Heart of Racing by SPS, the 27 AMG GT3. Let's head down to the pit lane where Fred Vavish is waiting to talk to us.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. It's their 1st win. It's their 3rd race in GT3. So the whole team is new. So yeah, I think it's very emotional for them. And I think Mathieu did a great job as well, Stefan. So yeah, happy to be part of it, and hopefully many to follow.
The Swedish Primus Racing Team BMW has won the TCE division by 2 laps ahead of Hoffa Racing by Bonk Motorsport. Johan Rosen bringing the car back to Parc Fermé to celebrate the victory with his team.
Thank you so much. It's been an amazing journey. 12 hours of being in the little car. It's not that easy. Everyone is driving past you like, you know.
And on the overall podium, Harter Racing SPS in third, Santalog Junior team in second, and joined by our winners, Haas RT. Trophies are handed over, and then all that remains is to pop the champagne and start the party. The Swedes from Primus Racing are on the top step in the TCE class. Alongside them in second, Hoffa Racing by Bonk Motorsport, the 331 car. And despite many challenges, Icoa Racing did make it onto the podium in third. Confirmation of the results after the full 12 hours of the Hankook 12 Hours of Mugello. It is Haas, Santalog and Harter Racing, as you've seen on the podium. Veely Motorsports by EB Motors win the 992 Cup class in a very impressive fourth overall. And in fact, the top three in that class are all inside the top eight, with Red Camel Jordan NL in seventh and Red Ant Racing in eighth, making up the podium for that Porsche Carrera Cup class. In TCE, it's Primus Racing who'll take home the victory from Hoffa Racing by Bonk Motorsport in second, and Icoa Racing team, after a long, hard race, have made it onto third position with the Audi TCR. The Hankook 12 Hours of Mugello is over. Another spectacular 24-hour series powered by Hankook event. Well done to the Dutch promoter Creventic for a brilliant weekend. The German dominance in the manufacturers continues, just one Ferrari between Audi, Mercedes and Porsche in the top 15 overall. Next up, we're off to the Ardennes roller coaster at Spa-Francorchamps. I'm John Hindhaugh. See you in Belgium.